All right, let's wrap up events at former President Thabo Mbeki's birthday celebrations at the Sandton Convention Centre. We're joined now by Sabc International News Editor Sophie Mokoena. You've been there, you've been listening to the various stories told, the history of the former president. Just share with us some of your highlights.
Well, I think, so for me, the highlight was the address by former President Thabo Mbeki. You know, he doesn't often talk about his private life or personal stories. He is family focused on issues. But for the first time, I think he was comfortable to tell us a story about Thabo Mbeki, even though he didn't say a lot, but at least it gives you a gist of who he is and what he is about. I think the summary is that in terms of the ANC, the organization, he was saying, I am Thabo. I joined the organization when I was very young. I was very committed. I did a lot. And I expect my comrades to be committed as I was or as our forebears were. Coming to the issues related to government, again, him saying that as South Africa, we must always remember that we are not an island. We must know that we are part of the continent, and at all times, whatever we do, we must strive to build a better Africa. He cited an example of his trip to Mali some years ago, where a Sabc camera person or video journalist asked him to do something about the manuscript of Tumbaktum. I know very well that that video journalist was Thabo Modise or Thabo Madilula, who was working at the Sabc and part of the press corps covering the president with Miranda Stradom and Dumisani Mkwamba. And when they were in Mali, that's when Thabo Madilula said to the president of South Africa, Mr. President, let's do something about this history. And indeed, that was done. And also him talking about when the president of Mali, Alpha Conare, requested South Africa to assist when they were hosting a World Cup. Not a World Cup, an Africa Cup of Nations, and they didn't have resources. South Africa had to step in. And also talking about the role South Africa has played in terms of bringing peace and stability on the continent. For me, the Great Lakes region, I think it was profound in a sense that when he spoke about what South Africa did to assist DRC and the Great Lakes region, when young Kabila took over, and him bringing the Congolese to Sun City for the talks so that they can have elections and pave way for a democratic dispensation in that country. Sadly, Tsepiso, as you are aware, right now as we speak, for days now, we've been covering a story of the DRC that is regressing, the Great Lakes region that is regressing. And you know that currently the DRC took a decision to cut ties with Rwanda. And you know that when Rwanda and DRC are fighting, you will definitely have a problem in the Great Lakes region, not only the Great Lakes region, but the East Africa region. And I think he was trying to say indirectly, let us not forget the continent. And you know, most of the time, he now focuses on issues that are related to the continent. Him even talking about the fact that he's doing work for the African Union on illicit financial outflows from Africa. And I know that a few days ago, he was speaking to the Secretary General of the United Nations, and they were talking about issues that are of international interest. I'm sure Ukraine was on the agenda.
Sophie, I think we're going to have to leave it there because of the noise behind you. But if you are still able to continue, there were many dignitaries there. We saw the king of Amazulu, Mrs. Zulu, who was there for the greater part of the evening. Many other dignitaries, people who have been with the former President Thabo Mbeki, both personally and professionally. Perhaps you'd like to just mention some of those.
You know, Well, Thabiso, I couldn't hear you. It's quite noisy, and I really apologize to the viewers. It's quite noisy now. But I think, in summary, President Mbeki today summarized his role in South Africa from childhood to where he is today, but also giving a signal that he is still committed to build a better Africa.
All right, thank you very much for that. SABC International News Editor Sophie Mokoena, and as she said, unfortunately we weren't able to continue our conversation because the celebrations are well underway. The dancing is going to continue there at Sandton Convention Centre as they continue to celebrate former President Thabo Mbeki's 80th birthday. Now, meanwhile,